Wait, what is up, guys? It's your boy Mo, and today we're back with another video. Today we're back with kind of the same video as last time. It's by the same guy called Chat History or whatever. I think we reacted to like something about medieval times last time. I'm not sure, but today we're reacting to a video called Haunted and Cursed Historical Objects. You know what I'm saying? I'm a kid of me. I ain't even feel like turning on the camera today, man. Like, my body hurt too much from hooping that I really did not feel like turning on the camera. But I'm here, y'all. I'm here. You know what I'm saying? This is how you know I'm dedicated enough. But yeah. Let's get into it. Let's go. Turn this up a little bit. Fuck it. Oh, we got it.
Whether you believe in curses or not, it's a simple fact that some objects are inherently creepy. Something as simple as a little statue that your grandpappy gave you before he particle effected away could make your amygdala go all wiggly. Is it just a statue, or is it something a little bit more sinister? Invest in Bitcoin. Time to talk about cursed artifacts. Of course a doll is cursed. It's like the go-to item to be cursed. You've got Annabelle, this doll, you got Furbies. But first, there was Robert. His story begins in the early 1900s in Key West, Florida, with little 4-year-old Eugene Robert Otto. The young boy had reportedly received the doll as a present from either his grandfather or from a house servant. Most sources claim it was a servant woman who apparently handmade the demonic doll and gave it to Eugene in retaliation for being mistreated by his parents. This certainly serves the whole curse narrative, so let's go with that. Either way, Eugene welcomed his new doll friend and decided to name him Robert. He is a life-size cloth doll stuffed with wood wool. Being life-sized, this thing's freaking huge, sitting at around 40 inches in length. Non-Americans would call that a meter. It's basically the size of another small child. Now best friends, the two were inseparable day in and day out, sitting, playing, solving differential equations. So after around 6 years of pretty much nothing super spooky happening, something super spooky happened. Eugene was having a nice, deep, dreamy sleep when he woke up to find Robert just kind of sitting at the foot of his bed, staring at him. That's not good. Soon after, Eugene's mom, who was also having a solid dream, was abruptly awoken by the sound of Eugene's desperate and terrified screams, accompanied by the banging and scraping of moving furniture. She quickly and unanimatedly rushed down the hallway, ripped the door open, and found little Eugene in a fetal position on his bed, clearly petrified in fear, with a still staring Robert on the bed. Oh, and all the furniture had been inexplicably overturned around the room. When questioned about what happened, Eugene simply said, "Robert did it." Oh, okay.
You see how
Over
they
the next
never
several
believe,
years,
you
whenever
see
there was
how-
mischief afoot,
You see how they never believe the kids, though? You think kids is really going to take that short of a time span to flip over a bunch of furniture?
Robert was to blame. Although skeptical, Eugene's parents had their fair share of uneasy experiences too. Allegedly, they would hear Eugene conversing with Robert, which is innocent enough for kids with imaginary friends, but they would often hear an unfamiliar voice responding to Eugene in conversation, accompanied by creepy giggling. Sometimes they would even see Robert moving around out of the corner of their eye. After growing up and being soul-crushed by the weight of adult life, Eugene returned to his estate with his wife to find Robert locked away in a chest. Ugh, I hate it. Mrs. Otto wasn't a huge fan of the old doll and demanded that Robert remain in the chest, and being a good husband, Eugene conceded. Remember, fellas, happy wife, happy life. But this did not make Robert too happy.
Corny as shit ever again.
There were reports from house guests of hearing scurrying in the attic with that same creepy giggling. Even children passing by outside reported seeing Robert in the window staring at them and even making fun of them, though I'm not too sure how well they could see that from such a distance. Eugene, knowing that he locked Robert in the chest multiple times, would often find him sitting by the window. Fast forward, Eugene dies in 1974 and a new family moves into the house. Their curious daughter finds Robert and gets super excited. A new house and a creepy, decrepit, possessed doll? Where do I sign? But it didn't take long for everything to come full circle. The daughter would wake up screaming for her parents when she saw Robert moving about the room. In response, her parents were all neat and slammed Robert into a box and gave him away. The devilish doll is now on display at the East Martello Museum in Key West, Florida, where you can meet him yourself.
First of all, was it made like that with holes in its face? That's my
Or
question.
you can deal with that shadow person that's currently staring at you from the corner of your bedroom. Sleep tight.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
We all know that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Some artists pour their heart and soul out onto the canvas, while others just dump out a can of paint and call it a day. Regardless, art evokes emotion and meaning behind the brushstrokes, which is why painter Bruno Amadeo created the Crying Children series in the UK in the 1950s. However, the origin of his inspiration is up for debate. Some sources say that Amadeo adopted a little adorable orphan boy whose parents died in a house fire. But tragedy would follow the little no-parent-having gremlin when Amadeo's own studio caught fire shortly after. The orphan boy, who was blamed for the fire and swiftly huffed to the road, eventually grew up and allegedly lost his own life in a car fire in the 70s. Another, more plausible inspiration was from witnessing children orphaned by the events of World War II. Over 60 paintings of crying children were created between the 1950s and the 1980s. Super depressing. But oddly enough, them weird Brits absolutely love the paintings. Over 50,000 prints were sold and displayed in homes. But listen, I gotta ask, who the friggin' flip puts a picture of a crying child in their home? What's that? Oh,
Bro,
that's just a
y'all
crying.
don't understand, bro. Them people consider a lot of weird shit art back then, bro. That basically was like the Mona Lisa to them. Like,
Boy painting, isn't he adorable? No.
you don't even
But
know
that's
that, man,
not the
bro.
weird part. The weird part is what happened to many of those who had the copies. Over the years, many owners of these paintings reported house fires which devastated their homes. Whole kitchens set ablaze, living rooms charred, bedrooms
Damn.
burned. But a common theme was that the crying children paintings survived, unscathed and intact. Hundreds of these reports came in, and many firefighters frequently found the freaky features face down and fire-free. Some people claim that they would even hear screams and crying sounds coming from the portraits before being retrieved. To put the idea of the curse to rest, a newspaper editor advised any concerned owners of the portraits to send them in to be destroyed. In the end, over 2,500 prints were received and subsequently burned, though it did prove difficult to do so. It is generally agreed upon that the reproductions were printed on fire-resistant, high-density hardboard, so they were pretty difficult to actually set on fire. But as usual, people denied logical thought and decided that the supernatural
Bro,
explanation
that is
was the only
enough,
possible.
bro. That's enough proof right there that that shit was cursed. What you mean, Brian? Like fire-resistant cardboard? That shit, hell no.
Stability. It's probably best practice to just never hang any paintings in your
Bro,
home.
these is way harder than the pictures, though. These is literally like I would respect somebody hanging these up in their house than some crying child. That's
You
weird.
just never know their next move. Welcome to World of Tanks, the high-octane PC war game where
Hey, bro,
you
bro,
can
bro,
pilot
bro.
your very own tank.
Sure,
Can you
sure.
stop screaming in my face? You've got over 800 tanks to choose from. Fast tanks, large tanks, itty-bitty dolls, paintings, and now furniture. Anything can be cursed if you piss off the wrong people enough, which leads to our next cursed artifact, the Conjured Chest. This finicky piece of furniture has quite the troubled backstory to it. It all started in the early 1800s in old Kentucky. Here, plantation owner Jeremiah Graham, sometimes referred to by pseudonym Jacob Cooley, was getting ready to have his first child. The thing is, Jeremiah was about as useless as an inflatable dartboard. So he had someone make it for him. And what's a plantation owner without a few slaves? This is the American South, after all. One particular slave, named Remus, or Hosea in some sources, was a master carpenter, and was given the task of building a chest of drawers, which apparently is different from a dresser. This is a dresser, and this is a chest of drawers. See? Very different. Remus got to work in crafting the chest, spending countless hours perfecting the piece. Once completed, he presented the chest to Jeremiah. Excellent work, Remus. I give you full credit for this wonderful display of craftsmanship. Isn't it beautiful? Hell, I'd make sweet love to it right now if you weren't watching. But of course, that's not what happened. Instead, Jeremiah hated it so much that he actually ended up beating Remus to death over the matter. This understandably sparked an outrage amongst the other plantation slaves, initiating a plot to seek revenge. According to the Kentucky Historical Society, the other plantation slaves secretly cursed the gift, sprinkling dried owl's blood while uttering a secret chant. Despite despising the decorated drawers, Jeremiah moved the chest to the newborn's nursery. According to legend, anyone associated with the chest had
That
suffered
nigga
a
had no
miserable
idea that shit
death.
was cursed. Well, that's what he get.
It is said that the demonic drawers have a kill count of 18 across a 100-year span. Here's a few of them. Jeremiah's firstborn, for whom the chest was made, got spawn camped. Jeremiah's nephew, whose clothes were put in the chest, was stabbed on his 21st birthday. A couple who inherited the chest both died, one from a severe illness, and the other was killed in an accident. A recent bride who stuffed her wedding dress in the drawer prematurely died in 1897. One
What?
fella's mom put some of his mittens in the chest in 1909. He fell off a train 30 feet to his death. Another woman rearranged her house and moved the chest to her room. She took her own life a few years later in 1915. In 1946, a guy placed his hunting clothes in the chest. Then someone else placed a bullet in his chest. Frustratingly,
Damn. Bro, that's like a final destination.
Jeremiah
like, this is like
himself
Final
actually
Destination, bro. What
escaped
the
any
fuck?
premature demise.
Yo.
After a while, enough was enough. In the late 1940s, the latest owner had her maid break the curse. But how do you break a curse? Simple. You just obtain a dead owl, have it watch you pick and boil willow leaves for one whole day, put the liquid in a jug, and bury it such that the handle is facing east under a flowering bush. If all goes well, you die, and the curse is lifted.
First of all, bro, I'm not even gonna lie. How the hell you supposed to even know that that's how you do it? Witches just be doing a bunch of bullshit, man.
The maid
Seriously.
did all this, and sure enough, died shortly after, becoming the last casualty of the conjured chest, but ultimately breaking the curse. Or so they say.
Guys, if you're still balding in 2026, what are you doing? There's an easy solution.
Back over 5,300 years ago, when you were nothing but a speck in the atmosphere, no more significant than you are now, some guy got shot in the back with an arrow while traversing the Utstal Mountains in modern-day northern Italy. Since he failed to activate his protective prayers, he couldn't recover and got PK'd pretty hard. In non-gamer speak, he died. But this wouldn't be the end of his journey. Thanks to the very cold conditions of snow and ice on the mountain, the guy's remains froze and his body was preserved for thousands of years. The man was discovered in 1991 and given the name
Oh.
Ötzi, after the mountain range in which he died. That's like naming someone who fell off of a cliff Cliffy, or Clifford, like the big red dog. God, imagine the shits he took.
What? Yo, what are we talking about, bro?
The mummified man is regarded as one of the most well-preserved bodies ever recovered,
Bro,
despite
that's
looking
crazy.
like
If you really
old.
think about it like this, right? I think they filmed this man on like a cold mountain. Bro, a body in a freezer is literally supposed to stay preserved and nothing's supposed to happen to it. I mean, he probably caught like what you call that shit? Freezer burn or something, though. But he put it in a freezer though, so that's different. But like, yeah.
Beef jerky. Problem was, Ötzi apparently wasn't a fan of his newfound fame because many of those associated with his discovery ended up suffering pretty awful deaths, starting the rumor of the Iceman's curse. The first was Rainer Henn, the head of the forensics team who examined Ötzi. He had picked up the frozen little fellow with his bare hands to place him in a bag for transport. As a prize for this good deed, Henn was awarded with getting absolutely wrecked in a car crash a year later in 1992 while on his way to give a lecture about Ötzi. A little while later, Kurt Fritz, a mountaineer who assisted Henn, got hugged by an avalanche. A few months after that, journalist Rainer Hutzel, who filmed the removal of the corpse, died from a big old brain tumor. We then jump ahead to 2004, when Helmut Ziemann, one of the tourists who originally found Ötzi, was discovered dead and frozen in the same exact spot. An hour after his funeral, the head of his mountain rescue team died of a heart attack. But not everyone was too keen on the idea of the Iceman's curse. For instance, archaeologist Konrad Spindler, who examined Ötzi's remains, said that the whole curse idea was silly, saying, quote, "This is all a media hype. The next thing you'll be saying is that I will be next." He died shortly after. Multiple sclerosis. You know how it is. The final death associated with the Iceman to date was Dr. Tom Lloyd, who performed a DNA analysis on Ötzi. When he was just about to finish a book on the cold cadaver's history, he was found dead in his home, despite being in relatively fair health. Now, of course, it has to be said that there have been plenty of others who have studied, photographed, poked, and even caressed Ötzi's leathery sunken skin who are still alive and well today. But if you want to take the chance with the curse yourself, you can visit Ötzi in the South Tyrol Archaeological Museum in Bolzano, Italy. Just remember to not play footsies with Ootsies Tootsies. While you're using your feet for that, use a free hand to download World of Tanks using the link in the description. Also, click this video. I'll see you over there.
I ain't gonna lie, y'all. Chill. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. That's the end of the video. I hope y'all enjoyed. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how to feel about this video. It was a little too short, which I like because I'm a little too tired right now, so I'm not even gonna hold you. I'm gonna end this video and go take me a nap. But alright. But yeah, I'm gonna turn this off and I'm gonna go take a shower, go to sleep, you know what I'm saying? We out, we bippin'. I'll catch y'all later.